Today we're going to give our family computer an RGB makeover with Next Leve Neo's latest ARGB LED kit. We'll start by cleaning up the system and replacing a few fans, then dive into the fun part of adding some RGB lighting. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the part of cleaning up a computer or adding in some fans, as most of you guys are aware of how that goes. So go ahead and knock that out real quick, and then we'll jump straight into the LED kit install.
So you can see we cleaned up the computer case a little bit, pulled some of the hardware out. Like I said, this is a little bit of an older computer, a little bit more of a family computer, but I figured this was a great candidate to add in the strips and a little bit more RGB. Replaced a couple of the fans with ARGB Fans. Now, these are the Cosmic 120mm uni fans by Asia Horse. I got 3 of them in the front, and then I got one of the Jungle Leopard 120mm for the back side here. Something that actually kind of caught my eye when I was looking for fans for the big computer that we built in the basement. I actually ended up buying a couple of these to try them out. Decided not to put them on the high-end build, but they still tested pretty good, so I figured this was a great opportunity to use the fans that I already had on hand, especially being that they were ARGB, and originally this was just an RGB fan, and then ARGB fans on the front, but just a very simple design. So this is a nicer design with the infinity mirrors built in as well, and a little bit of extra RGB on them. So let's go over the kit here. So for the actual kit itself, you will get a Cool Moon controller. You will get 2 ARGB strips, 1 extension, and you will get 2 pairs of adapters. One takes it to a JST plug, and the other adapter takes it to the standard ARGB header pin. In addition, there's also a roll of 2-sided tape that can be used to help affix the strips to the case. So first off, for the controller itself, the controller is a pretty nice, simple box here, and it basically just controls your ARGB, but it also can control your fans. So you have a single input, which would go to anywhere on the motherboard, and then you can run all your fans to that. Now, a very nice feature of the Asia Horse fans that we had on the front here was that they all do actually lock in together. So I only have 1 fan connection that I have to make there, so as well as 1 ARGB connection that I have to make. So I just ran that directly to the board, and then this being the CPU cooler, I ran that direct to the board. So I will not be using a fan controller on this for this build, but it is there in the event that you need it. This also has the ability to connect to any ARGB headers that are on the motherboard itself. Now, this motherboard that came with the computer does not have ARGB headers, so I will not be using that feature. But if you do, I would definitely recommend using that over the built-in controller, primarily because it will actually be software-based control versus hardware-based. The software-based control can usually sync with games and other applications within your computer to give a little bit of a better user experience. But if you do choose hardware mode, a remote is included, as well as the connections for the fan control, the ARGB connection to the motherboard, if you have that, and our power connection. So first off, you want to determine where best to mount your controller. Now, I have a ton of space at the front of the tower here, so I'm going to be mounting mine right up front, just like that. Now, locate your red plug here, that is for your power, and we're just going to plug that directly into the power connection. Next up, you're going to want to plug in each of your ARGB headers, and you'll see that the fan ports have 4 pins and the ARGB headers only have the 3. So just line up your pins and slide it right in. And just like that, it is a magnetic backed controller, so it will mount to any metal surfaces within the case. For our strips, we are going to choose an orientation up and down. So we're going to have our wires at the top, and I'm going to run it down. Now, you're going to want to consider your case as to what the best orientation is. If you've seen our NV7 build, you'll see where we actually ran a top and bottom, which worked better for the actual case flow. But in the case of this case, there is actually a strip on the front of the case, so I'm going to run it up and down to match that, as well as the fans running up and down. So the first thing you want to do is figure out sizing. Now, these strips can be easily cut with just a pair of wire cutters or some heavy duty scissors. Just figure up about how much space you want and go ahead and cut off the excess. We'll go ahead and do the same for the back side of the case. Now we can go ahead and grab our two-sided tape. Now, keeping in mind the orientation of the strips themselves, the white section is where the LEDs actually will be shining out of. Anything that's covered in black can actually be hidden. And ideally, you're gonna wanna tuck that away. That way it's minimal visibility when the computer is off, but you can still see the light when it turns on. So in this case, on the back strip, I will be putting the tape on this side. And note that I did put the tape below the white section. That way it was not blocking the actual light from the strip. Go ahead and peel back the back side of the tape and get the strip into position. You want to make sure to route the wires as cleanly as you can. I'm just going to route mine right out the back of the, right out the side of the case here, keeping in mind that you do have an extension in the event that you need it. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the two-sided tape to the front strip as well. Now we're going to go ahead and lift the case and work on our wiring on the back side. And in this case, the tower is actually small enough and we're close enough to the controller that I will not have to use the extension. So I'm just going to use the adapter here, plug that directly in. We're going to route it down through this top hole. And just like that, we have all of our connections to the ARGB controller. Now, as for the backside, as with any computer build, it's a great idea to keep things as tidy as you can. Now, we do recommend using zip ties, which are not included, to keep everything nice and snug. And then make sure that you do connect your power connection to the power supply for the controller itself. Once everything is tucked out of the way and nice and clean, you can go ahead and apply your covers back onto the case. And then we're ready to go ahead and hook the computer back up. So as you can see, we have quite a bit of RGB on this tower now, and everything flows together really well. The controller works very well if you are running standalone. If you are tapping into the software of the system via ARGB header on the motherboard, it will also give you quite a bit of control that way. But you know, if you're just looking for simple RGB, it's a great way to add to your case, and for the price point, we think it's pretty aggressive. While still being a quality product that has pretty much everything you need out of the box to add to any computer. Obviously, ones with a glass case side are going to do better than something without that, but other than that, you know, most computer cases, this should work really well. So definitely check it out on the website, and be sure to tag us in your build so that we can see what kind of creations you guys come up with. Thanks for watching the video, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.